Hey, what's going on, everybody? Mike with Run Dad Run podcast. I appreciate you joining me again this week. It is already week 5 of the half marathon plan. I can't believe it's already week 5, but 4 weeks are in the bag. Just completed up the last week with the 7-mile run. So we'll recap week 4 real quick. We'll talk about week 5. But first, I want to talk about some announcements regarding the runs I was going to do. So I'm going to link down below for the Tunnel to Towers race. They put out a challenge to everybody. So what I was talking about doing, forget that. We're not going to do that this year. What instead we're going to do, and I'm going to ask you guys to do, everybody that you know, ask them to do it. So go and check out the link that I'm going to put down below. Watch the video and challenge yourself to do something to remember that day. So what they're suggesting, a few ideas they had, run 3.43 miles, walk 9.11 miles, whatever it is, bike the 29 miles and change. I forget the exact number. I should know that, but I don't. But go to the website, check out what they're looking to do, sign up just to do the event, and upload a video is free. And then if you want a shirt or a shirt and hat, you can make donations that way. I challenge all of you to go to the website, watch the video, and choose some way to challenge yourself and to remember that day in 2001. So that's what I'm going to be doing instead of what we talked about earlier. I'm not sure whether I'm going to just run a 5K and go for a personal best, or if I'm going to do some, I don't know, significant, I guess you'd call it, or some meaningful mileage, whether it's 3.43 miles or run 9.11 miles. Not really sure. That day, as I've mentioned, the 12th of September is technically a 5K race on the calendar, which is of course 3.12 miles. So to bump that up to some other meaningful number, I don't think is too crazy. Probably not going to run 9 miles or bike 30 miles or something like that. But challenge yourselves. Challenge yourselves, whether it's on the 11th or the 12th or the 13th that weekend. Challenge yourself to do something that in some way represents your remembrance. So that's what we're going to do. The link will be down below so you can watch the video and get yourself registered. Whether it's a donation or not, I believe the first level is free. They'll send you a bib with your number on it. Take a picture of yourself with that during what you've decided to do. Second option, I forget the dollar amount, but it's a bib and a t-shirt. The third option, I believe, is a bib, a t-shirt, and a hat. So check out the website, register, challenge yourself, and then post what you've done on their website, their social media, what have you. Second thing that I want to announce, I've been talking about, I didn't know whether or not this half marathon race was going to be held or not. And initially I was checking, it felt like once or twice a week. I was looking at their website, looking at the Facebook page, and I just stopped doing it. I was checking maybe once every 2 weeks, especially once I got started on the plan. I'm not checking as often because I'm just grinding away, right? Well, I checked on the 24th, actually, right after I put the last week's video out. And I missed it by 10 days. On the 14th, they announced that they're doing 100% virtual for the half marathon that I'm training for, which is okay, because I wasn't really sure how it was all going to shake out anyway. So October 24th, I can imagine, at least last year when I ran this race, you have to understand the race benefits the high schools here in Volusia County. So a lot of local people are running the race. Obviously, that's where you're going to draw most of your race entrants from anyway. But specifically, when it benefits the high schools, you're going to get even more people locally that are more interested than, say, maybe some other race. But anyway, so they're going 100% virtual. So I can only imagine that on the actual day of the race, there's going to be a bunch of people that show up on the course looking to run it anyway. I'm probably going to be one of those guys that just shows up and just runs. So I have a feeling we're all going to be out there. The virtual option is still available. It's still only $45 to join the race or to register for the race. and anyone can do it. So I'm throwing out the challenge to all of you on this as well. If you've never done a half marathon, maybe you've been thinking of doing a half marathon, maybe you're just in really good shape looking for a race to do in October, there's a virtual option. So whether you're one of my friends in New Jersey, whether you're one of my new contacts through the videos I've been doing, or brothers-in-laws, sisters, brothers, whoever, wherever you are, you can run this race with me. And I challenge you to think about it. Even if you just go out and, I don't know, run 12-minute miles, do it. Let's try it. Let's see if you can get it done, guys. So that's the second big announcement, is obviously all virtual. So there's going to be no real event that day. So hopefully I'll be able to film myself on the day of the race, the day of the race, which I think they have a month-long window to get the race done. But I'll do something so that you guys can see me plodding through the 13.1 and I can have some details for you day of the race. So those were the two big things that I wanted to talk to you about real quickly. The other thing, exciting news for me, other than obviously my second grader starting virtual school today at his elementary school, my VPK son starting his VPK today at the daycare. So we have a split household. My wife is working where she works. I'm working from home. So the whole thing that we're trying to do is limit the number of exposures. There's certain things within our life that we have to do. My wife doesn't have an option to work virtually. She has to go to her campus. I do have an option to work virtually, thankfully, so I'm staying home. And my company's been very, very, very open and honest about what they expect of us and what their expectations are regarding reopening the office building and us field personnel if we don't feel comfortable. Long story short, I get to be 100% virtual for at least the next 9 weeks, while my son is home doing virtual with me. So we've got at least half of the family, limiting the number of contacts that we have and potential exposures. So our youngest is in VPK. It's a small, obviously, daycare. It's not a full-on elementary school. Limits the number of exposures. So that's what we're doing. It's a numbers game to us. We're being smart, washing hands, wearing masks, and doing everything right to hopefully not bring it home. For those of us who can't stay home to do the things that we need to do, we're not going to bring it home. So awesome start to the week so far. All of the technology worked, the drop-off times worked, everything was perfect. So those big announcements. And then for me, on an individual note, I decided that I was going to pursue my master's degree again. And if those of you who know me, it kind of didn't work out at the last school I went to. Wasn't really the right program, and we ended up moving. I started a new job, and classes just fell by the wayside, and I just lost momentum. And when I started looking at getting back, enough time had passed where you had to reapply. I said, well, if I have to reapply, I'm probably going to look at other programs. So I found a program and something that I'm a little bit more interested in. It's a Master's of Science in Leadership here at Embry-Riddle University in Daytona. And I'm really interested by their curriculum. It's something that in my personal life I read about. I read books about whether it's military leadership or business management. And it's something that I actually, in my undergrad work, one of the classes that I enjoyed the most was about leadership. And in fact, when I was looking through my advisor's page, she has a textbook lookup tool that you can see what classes and what the standard textbook is. And I looked up just randomly one of the leadership classes for the master's degree, and I pull it up, and the last name of the author was Nordhaus. And I said, I know that author's name. Go over to my bookshelf, and sure enough, one of the leadership books that I kept from my undergrad work is a textbook in the master's class. So that was kind of a signal to me, like, you made the right choice here. You kept the book because obviously you're interested in the topic, you're interested in the way it lays out the information, and here you're going for your master's degree, and it's one of the textbooks they use. So very exciting for me, going to start in a couple of weeks once everything settles down a little bit here. So anyway, those exciting things I wanted to talk to you guys about right away. Like I said, a shorter video, so we're just going to recap and talk about this upcoming week, and then I'll let you guys go. Again, I really appreciate all you guys coming and giving me views and seeing what we have to say. Had some great interactions with some other folks on YouTube, and really that's what it's about. People, some channels that I found, guys reviewing shoes, guys talking about books. Interacted with one of my subscribers, check them out. Has 6 books that he either relates to running or is about running that he found interesting. So check out some of the subscriptions I have. There's some really great content out there that really ties into what we're doing. The guy that I commented on his video, he listed 6 books that he was recommending. 2 of them I've either read or are on my bookshelf. So right there, I said, all right, this guy's this guy knows what he's talking about, or at the very least, we both think we know what we're talking about. So anyway, week 4, standard week last week, 60-minute cross training, rest day on Monday, 3 miles Tuesday, 4-mile pace on Wednesday, 3 miles on Thursday, rest on Friday, and then the 7-mile run on Saturday. So cross training, I believe I talked about last week after I did it or right before I did it. I'm really using the bike a lot. It just makes the most sense. And the 2 3-mile runs, those easy. I wasn't canceled by any weather this week, thankfully. I did try to mix in some lunchtime runs, some early afternoon runs, like right before quitting time, and then made up my office time afterwards. So 4-mile pace felt good again this week. So I talked about this last time when I did the 3-mile pace. 4-mile pace felt really good. I'm not thinking that it's too fast. It is obviously some effort. Obviously, when you're just cruising around 9-minute miles, 9.5-minute miles on the longer runs sometimes. 8 is obviously you're pushing now. You're going to have different effort. You're going to have different breathing, and we're working up to the longer race pace runs. And it felt good, and it felt like I was pushing myself. But I haven't had that, other than the long runs. I haven't had that feeling the next day or 2 days later of like, oh man, I'm shot. So thankfully, 4-mile run, it's not that long, a little bit higher effort with the pace, but felt really good afterwards and the next couple of days. So I'm really pleased with the pace efforts so far, and I'm looking forward to the 5-mile pace. That's the next bump up, which will be in 2 weeks. So I'm looking forward to that, and some of the longer runs, I'm looking forward to some of my pace dropping a little bit, because again, it's so hot. I had the middle of the week runs. Rest day Friday was great. Like I said, I wasn't like sore or tired, but the end of the week on the Friday, you're kind of feeling, with work, with kids, with everything going on, that rest day is perfectly timed. And then the 7-mile run on Saturday. So 7 miles, I tried to get out before the hottest part of the day and before it got hot. I'm not an early riser on the weekends. I'm just not. And I think I got out the door at 10 a.m. and I got, I think I did 5.8, and I came back around to drop off my armband and my earphones and my shirt and basically everything except for my running shorts, my shoes, and my watch. I dropped. I filled up the water real quick, took a blast of some ice cold water, got out the door. I basically treated it like a water stop at a race, right? Ran up to the front door, came in, filled up the water bottle, took a blast of that real quick, screwed the top on, and did, I think it was about 1.25 miles, came back around to grab my water bottle and do a lap cool down. So I filled up a squeeze bottle with some Scratch Labs. I'll have to get you guys the name of the stuff, but it's calorie replacement for in-race hydration. 16 ounces with that mixed in. Drank all of that on most of that on the first part of the run. With that splash of water, I finished it, and then finished my run. 16 ounces on my cool down, and then 24-ish ounces of Scratch hydration mix after my run. And I stepped on the scale, didn't eat anything else. I weighed myself before I ran, weighed myself after I ran, including all that intake of fluids, I lost like 5.2 pounds. So when I say it was hot, I've mentioned this before, I sweat a lot, but when I say it's hot, it was hot. It was 80 something degrees and like 80 something percent humidity. I lost 5 pounds and I took in 40 something ounces of fluid, which I think is what, like 2.5, 3 pounds, something like that, if my mental math is correct on that. So, I mean, over the course of a half marathon, I really have to take in a lot of fluids. And of course, hopefully in October, it cools off a little bit. This last race, as I've mentioned, was warmer than usual, but hopefully by the time we get to October, it cools off a little bit and I'm not sweating that much. But yeah, I mean, I took in some decent amount of liquids and I still lost 5 pounds on my 7-mile run. So anyway, it felt good though. It was hot. It was a bit of a struggle mentally because of the heat, to say, okay, you know, got to keep going. And I think 1 mile was over 9.5 minutes per mile. Everything else was below. And it wasn't my last mile. So I think it was somewhere in the middle. I slowed down. The route I run has some hills on it. At Florida hills, for those of you out in mountains, these are Florida hills, so it's not much, but it does slow me down a touch. So I was a little bit above 9.5, and all the others were under. So my average for the 9 miles was within that suggested 30 to 90 seconds slower than race pace. So race pace 8 minutes per mile, anywhere under 9:30 to me is where I want to be. So 8:30 to 9:30 is where I'm putting it. And I want to be closer to 9. So hopefully next 8-mile run next week, hopefully it's a little bit cooler. I can really keep to that 9 minute per mile pace. So felt great this week. You know, again, you know, this is week 4. You're kind of getting that, okay, a third of the way, mileage is clipping up higher, but it felt really good. So next week, week 5, same thing, you know, not much changes. Got your 60-minute cross training on Sunday, which I did yesterday. Obviously, today is Monday. So yesterday I did the cross train. Same thing. I did some pool time. I did some bike riding. I did about 40 minutes on the bike. And then I did some of the physical therapy exercises that I discussed. So really trying to, like I said, I don't want to blow out my hip. You know, I don't want anything to come back. So strengthening all those muscles in my glutes and my hips, all the hip flexor muscles, all of those things, mostly with the band work. So, you know, the stuff they give you at physical therapy, I can't off the top of my head, you know, the rubber band stuff. So do some exercises with that, as I've discussed before. So rest day today, again, really needed, especially with the first day of school with the boys. Really helpful to not have to go out and do a run today. So tomorrow is a 3-mile run, Wednesday 4-mile run, Thursday 3-mile run, all run, no pace runs this week, Friday rest day, and then the big 8-mile run on Saturday. So hopefully, I mean, it's September 1st tomorrow, but here in Florida, you know, it doesn't really start cooling off until sometimes, I mean, I remember when we first were looking to move down here, we were down here in October of 2006, and it was 90 something degrees. And the woman was like, this is unseasonably warm. You know, she didn't want us scared off. But it's not uncommon for it to be in the 90s in October. You know, sometimes on Halloween, you got to be careful what kind of outfit you pick out. Whereas in New Jersey, you know, you're almost always putting layers on, where I grew up anyway. So hopefully it starts getting cooler here soon, cooler-ish, you know, maybe lower 90s instead of mid-90s. We'll see. But anyway, that's what we got going on this week. And I'm looking forward to some of the higher pace, some of the higher mileage, the weather getting cooler, and we'll see how we do. So I'll keep you guys posted. Again, I'm really excited that you guys have been interacting in the comments section. I've been checking out some other channels. You know, you can look on my homepage or the YouTube homepage, see some of the other channels that I'm subscribed to. There's some really good ones out there that are doing some reviews of gear and books and talking about all kinds of different things other than just what I'm doing. So quick video today. Like I said, maybe I'll do a midweek video with some more information about what's going on. And we'll do maybe a longer video. So I know this was a short one, and I just wanted to catch up with you guys. I know I owe you a video for week 5 here and recap of week 4. So again, I really appreciate you guys. We'll see you in about 6 days. And like I said, maybe I'll see you again in 3 days, and we'll talk about something less specific to the half marathon plan. So love you guys. I appreciate it. See ya.